quite how glorious, but it's pretty much 10 out of 10 for weather. 9th of December, this is race 3 of the New South Wales Championship. As you'll remember, the first race was that one where a lot of the boats went the wrong way round. The second one last weekend got blown off, too windy, too hot. Some of you may have seen that. And today, here we are. This is race 3. Hopefully we're going to get a race off. Conditions look fantastic. My name is Mark Healy. I will be anchoring this commentary. Alongside me I've got the distinguished and super capable Andrew Buckland, who's going to be talking us through all manner of weather and other boat issues. And driving the boat today, guest driver Alex Knight, who hopefully will keep us in one piece. I'm sure he will. So thank you to you two guys. The story of the day. Well, if you're in Sydney Harbour, you don't need me to tell you this with too much detail, but it's an absolutely cracker of a summer day. 17 days or so till the Sydney Hobart race starts. Only 5 days for skiff fans till the Super Cup. Remember, that's Friday, 5 o'clock local time. We will be transmitting that, so please join us Friday 5 o'clock for the Super Cup. But today, well, it's a cracking looking day. It looks like a northeasterly. The racing will start in about 4 minutes. We'll tell you when we're in sequence. Currently on an AP. Andrew Buckland, a nice day to be on the harbour.
Yeah, Mark, all good. Fabulous nor'easter. Yesterday was a cracker, 30 knots, big high pressure cell in the middle of the Tasman Sea, 1,030 central pressure. So today, breeze just building nicely, gradient nor'east with water temperature about 20, western suburbs of Sydney getting up towards 30 as we speak. Full ebb tide flow at the start. All the ingredients, Mark, I reckon.
So that's tide under us, so every chance of a little bit of assistance to get them over the line, so nobody should be shy. General recall, Bucko, what's the percentage probability?
No, these guys are pretty disciplined these days about it. And you know, they come from a long run, and this wind speed, they're not racked up too close. There's enough wind to sort of make everybody a bit cautious. I'd be very surprised if there's general recall. And the line looks pretty good to me. Like, I think you could start at the boat or start at the pen and come out about the same. So the leeward end probably favoured because the first guy out gets to the current first. And as I said, peak flow probably nearly or more than a knot and a half going up, straight up wind.
And that tide under, that's all the whole race, is it?
No, well, fading as we go. Still current, though, for the last beat. So low tide, I think around 5 o'clock. So well after the boats are finished. So about mid, like as I said, peak flow. So about 3 hours, 3.5 hours after the change at start time.
So the cocktail, I guess, is wind against tide, which means we should see some good, spectacular downwind footage. Some of the shots some of you guys would have seen, the skiffs flying out of the water. A couple of years ago, we had a bit of that, and we had a bunch of broken centreboards. There was one race, I remember, there was something like 3 or 4 broken centreboards caused by boats going fully airborne and reconnecting with the wet stuff at not the ideal angle. I'm not sure whether we'll see it as extreme as that today, but generally speaking, it feels to me, Bucko, every time I look up wind, it looks like there's a tiny bit more wind than the last time I looked.
Yeah, she's just notching up as it does, and yeah, by the start of the last beat, I would expect they'll be seeing effectively on the rig a bit over 20 knots at Bradley's Head, which is sort of the strongest bit of the course. So that's plenty of wind, particularly with a ebb tide generated chop.
Okay, AP is up, as you can see on camera. It looks like they're about to drop the AP. I mean, look at that. A couple of hands on a couple of bits of rope. Oh, look at that. That was a bit of luck with the timing. End of AP. So the next one will be a 5-minute gun. All of the skiff fleet are out. They're all on small rigs. There's no dilemma in the boat park this time. And
the reason for the AP, Mark, was we were waiting for the spectator ferry.
Oh, you spectators, we love you, but come on, get off the dock. Well, actually, we saw a bit of dock drama, didn't we, before the commercial ferry came in, got worried about the skiffs that were launching. That set off a chain reaction, and here we are waiting for the spectator ferry. But it looks like a packed spectator ferry today. Good day to be on the water, good day to be spectating, but we're going to make sure we bring you the best pictures. Stay with us, this is the place to be. We've got a full cast on board today. The drone is itching to get up in the air. It's fully primed, fully ready to go. Batteries and safety guys and all sorts going on, so we're going to try and get the drone up as much as possible and watch from the best seat in the house, which is, of course, up in the air.
Oh, he already did.
There goes the flag, so that means it's 5-minute gun. Bucko today, just give us a quick sense of where you reckon we should expect the fastest boats to be? You've obviously been watching all season. In these conditions, this kind of day, give us your sense of the top 5.
Wow, top 5. Okay, mate.
Give or take.
Look, I mean, Finport's been the fastest and the most reliable. Jack McCartney subbing in for Matty Stenner on the sheet today. No loss there. Jack, a very experienced campaigner. Charlie Gundy in the bow with Keegan York. Wiggling the wood. They should win the race. Smeg probably second favourite. Michael Cox and Ricky Bridge and Mike McKenzie. Strong combination. They've been a bit up and down so far this year. Third is probably, there's a bit of a toss-up. Maybe Appliances Online, Noak Sailing, the Kitchen Maker are probably the contestants. So that's the top 5 I would expect.
Yeah, what do you think is going to happen with Winning Group? So we've got John Winning Jr. with a new boat. He's got Lucky Gilmore and Sevi Jarvin. That sounds like a pretty strong team. Yeah,
but they haven't had their rigs in condition yet. But to be fair, Sev, sure, brings a lot, and we would expect a good performance from them today as well.
So we've seen the 4-minute flag is up. We're now in sequence, and this race is kind of getting close to the start. They'll all be looking out wind right now. Just before they go, Bucko, looking out wind, which side, once we get past Bradley's, which side of the beat after that? What's going to be the best place to play these tide and breeze, if you could?
Well, stay in the river to a degree, but long tacks, minimise the tacks. 5 tacks up the beat is probably one too many, so, you know, in the bumpy water, these boats are pretty expensive to tack. And if we just want to look back, guys, at the fleet racked up, you'll see what I observed before, that everybody a bit conservative, starting for well back, no mucking around, no intensive manoeuvring in the last 2 minutes. So they've come from about 2 minutes sailing away from the line, and everybody just sort of fiddling around a bit and trying to figure out which lane that they will try to use off the line. And usually the faster guys do start toward the leeward end, and the guys that can't sail high and slow, or the slower guys tend to start towards the top, sail high and slow, and sort of almost come out even.
Yeah, there's no appetite for the pin at the moment, is there? Look, we've got the whole fleet up at this end. I've even got John Winning tacking back, just on camera there, back towards the right, so he's in no rush to go to the pin end.
Yeah, the Yandu's favourite start is high and slow at the boat end.
Yes.
Whereas the Kitchen Maker and probably the Appliances and maybe Finport are, a bit more confident, and they would tend to at least take some risk down toward the leeward end. But as I sort of mentioned, the first man out into the strong current usually wins the fight, but not always.
So they're setting up. They are going to be wanting to get themselves in position for the 1-minute gun. At that point, where they are is where they are. Winning group. I've seen Winning group down the end. That's the boat with John Winning Jr. that we talked about before. He's tacking up on port, up towards the middle of the line. Maybe a little bit too exposed down that pin end. But you get the feeling, don't you, Bucko, that they might be aiming to try and hit that pin. Seb used to do that on set all the time, didn't he?
They're shaping up with courage down there. 1 minute 20, so...
Quite a lot of boats directly behind the committee boat, just behind us. That's a 1-minute gun. But they're all looking for that conservative right-end start, the little group behind us.
So Smeg at the top, Finport, Winning Group, Appliances Online, down the other end, Asco in the middle.
All hovering.
Of the leaders.
They're all playing that typical 18-foot skiff dance of try to stand still. It's pretty hard. It's a hard game, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. And some of these guys obviously spent a bit of time in 49ers. They've gotten better at making them stop and go, so...
Yeah.
Ooh, they're looking a bit early.
And remember you said the tide under us. How much tide do you reckon we'll have on the start line here?
Oh, not much. About 3/4 of a knot.
3/4 increasing as they go up. So they've got to watch out. The 3/4 are down the end. I can see Winning Group is starting to push the button.
Are very close at the weather end. I think we're going to see a recall individuals at the weather end here.
And Appliances Online and Winning Group are down at the pin, the 2 lead boats there. Let's see how many guns we get. 2 guns. There you go. There's your general recall.
Well, as we observe, Mark, very dangerous predicting the past, let alone the future.
I know that it's like a financial services product where they say that history is no confidence booster for future performance or some cop out like that. Well, you did promise me there would be no general recalls.
I didn't.
No warranties. Let me down already.
All warranties were expressed or implied, were disclaimed.
Should I get out of the tag line here? Slow down. Yep. Yep.
So, typical general recall situation here where the fleet carry on sailing just to do a bit of a speed check, find their lanes, etc. But they've all got to bear away and keep the boat in one piece. This is just the time you don't want to capsize, Bucko, isn't it?
Yeah, no, and you've got your head around the upwind setup, you've got the vang sweated up and all that, and then you tack and bear away. Don't eat enough vang. Oh dear. Oh dear.
Yeah.
Yep.
And just look at that picture in front of us, John Winning. He did start at the committee boat, but he's lifting. He's got a really nice bit of right hand there, and you look at the boats, the hard left. I don't know, right now, I think I prefer to be where John Winning is than the guy's hard left. Remember, this is a general recall. This is just a sort of theoretical first crack at this first beat that we can look at. What do you reckon? Right or left, Bucko, right now, with hindsight, where would you want to be?
The kitchen maker will cross him, I would say, from the leeward end.
Interesting. Let's see. I'm not sure he's going to keep on saying. If he does, we will test that theory. But you're right. Right now, it looks like that is going to happen. Big lefties on the kitchen maker, right down in the distance. You just probably saw it just behind Bingley. We're just looking at Bingley at the moment, cruising down this way. And one by one, the fleet will, of course, come back to the start line. I think our starter's going to want to get on with this. He won't hang around too long. The secret is tack, bear away, keep it simple, keep the mast up in the air, keep the crew full of energy, because one of the things we talked about before, Buck, a point you were making in the boat part, which I think is really interesting, is that these are quite long races. They're pretty physical, and to win the race, you've got to win the whole race. You've got to still be upright by lap 3. And I think you were talking to me about the fact that some of these crews are very good one-lap crews, but they're not so good at 2 or 3.
Yeah. I mean, the third beat, I can tell you from some experience, shall we say, the third beat in this track is a tough, particularly for the sheet hand, it's a very tough time. You know, the Mr. Lactic comes to visit, all those things. You know, it's a dead set 2 mile beat, 17, 18 minutes on a wind. So by the time you start the third one, you've definitely, a bit like the marathon runner at the 30k mark, starting to get lactic acid visit and just general blood sugar starting to go down. There's no way to replace that during the race, or no way that. So that's going to be that's obviously an impact on boat handling. What about straight line speed? Is it just hiking, maybe a bit less hiking? No, the hiking part's the easy bit. It's the sail trim that's the hard bit, yeah? No, you in this sort of wind, the good thing about this wind, Mark, is that there's no need to run up and down, you know, the wings in the puff lull sequence. So anyway, in all that, guys, we just saw a couple of near misses for the capsize and the bear away back to the start line.
But I think they're all upright, aren't they?
Yeah, they still are. Nobody on the riding lever yet.
A good job by the fleet. To be fair, this is not easy conditions right now. I mean, it's not a howling gale. It's just a nice little, what is it now, 17 knots, maybe 18 in the puff, something like that. Yeah. So it's well in range of the small rigs, but with a run-out tide, you've got short little steep seas and easy to make a mistake. But yeah, so far everybody is doing the right thing. They'll be heading back to the start, and we'll be back in sequence shortly.
So the fin port started sort of not too promptly, shall we say. They were probably compliant down at the leeward end, and they looked like they were going to come out about 4th at Bradley's Head. So, but they were complying starter, and they've been very conservative. They've won a lot of races, even though starting, pretty conservatively.
So while we've got a little gap here, Bucko, you love my easy questions, don't you? Finport. They've had a whole load of form this year and a bit at the end of last year. Where's all the speed come from? What have they done?
Well, look, rig's very well developed. Nick, the sailmaker, fantastic. Nick and Michael Carter as a little team, in fact. They've got a rig set up there which is a little different to the North boats. It's deeper, slightly deeper jib, less headstay sag. Rigging the boat a bit firmer, very straight back jib, and beautiful main luff curve. So. And we'll get a look at that today at some stage, but very stable upwind, bolted in, like they can trim hard and maintain speed.
So I think it's also interesting that they've been switching around crewing positions. So they've actually, Keegan, the skipper, the helmsman, has intentionally put himself not on the helm a couple of times.
Yeah.
And I wonder whether that's, looking to the future for the JJ, not many months away now, whether that's an interesting long-term investment to just kind of check out how the rest of the boat's working.
Well, Keegan, pretty talented chap, and he's done the bow and the main sheet and steered. And they've won races
in all positions.
With him in any position on the boat. So that's a pretty good sign usually. And as we mentioned, I think Matty Stenner's away today, Kilbert sailing. So Jack McCartney on the main sheet. Oh, here's a bit of wind coming now, Mark. Have a look at this. You were talking about the little progressive build. We've just seen the notch, just one notch here, yeah?
Yeah, that's a notch up. I wonder if how long will that notch stay out? We'll have to see.
It'll stay till 6 o'clock, mate, now.
I can see in the far distance of the harbour. We'll get a chance to look at it on camera a little later. We got one of the maxi boats for the Hobart race flying down here. That'll be Blackjack. Blackjack was out a couple of days ago. We think they broke a spreader, but I saw them going out this morning for a bit of training, and they're hurtling down the harbour in this nearly 20-knot breeze. Plenty of big boats we're going to see, that's for sure. Over the course of probably today, a lot of the Hobart boats out on the ocean training today on a Sunday, and we will see them coming back down the harbour at some point. Anyway, there's a spectator ferry in front of us. We said it was a full one. It's certainly full. Look at that. Chock-a-block spectator ferry. They're the guys we had to wait for, but, glad we waited for you guys. Adds to the atmosphere of the race. And anyway, the recall wasn't really their fault. Hopefully next time we will get this race away. Hour and a half run time, Bucko, is that what you expect on this course in these conditions?
Tip tide, bit under 125, something like that. Yeah, and so the course, just to go over that again, and people will have asked the question, how long are the legs? And we never tell them how long they all are, so we'll do that today.
Now's the time.
So 2 miles, almost exactly 2 nautical miles to the windward mark, 1.4 miles to the jibe mark at Shark Island. And I was having a discussion with a colleague yesterday, and he said the bottom reach is 1 mile. And I measured it on the chart this morning. It's 0.75.
Is it? So that's why it's short, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the angles can be funny, because the first lap is via Shark Island, and then second lap we go Windward Leeward.
Windward Leeward, that's right, yeah.
And then the final lap we have one more chance to pass Shark Island, by which time the crews are tired, the spinnakers are flogging, and that's probably the best chance of it all going a bit wrong, isn't it, for the tired guys?
The bear away at the top and the jibe at
Yep.
Shark Island.
Yep, you want to book your seat for that show, that's for sure.
A frequent graveyard, shall we say.
Yeah, that's for sure.
But yeah, and getting across the top of Point Piper in the bumpy water can be a bit challenging.
So, class flag is up, we're back in sequence. Next gun you hear will be the 4-minute guns, that's your watchers. And the fleet, well, they all did stay upright, that's the good news, so the fatigue level should be good. Conditions fractionally up, Bucko, is it? We don't want to talk it up if it's not happening, but it feels like there is just a click more than the last start of about 5-10 minutes ago.
Yep, absolutely. Just gone up. Boop, boop, boop. And bumpier too, Mark, so...
Yeah, it is
more
bumpier,
white
isn't it?
horses.
It is bumpier, that's for sure. And this season so far, Bucko, has it been all big rigs, all small rigs, or how many times these guys seen this rig?
We've had a lot of diversity. We've seen this rig plenty of times. We had a couple of absolutely cracking Southerlies earlier in the year, where the course takes them all the way down to Obelisk Bay, so 2.4 mile run down the harbour, and that's a pretty good racetrack as well. So we saw a couple of those in, upwards of 20 knots.
Right.
Some fantastic footage.
Yeah. Just in the background behind the committee boat, just on picture right now, that is Blackjack. Didn't take a long. Last time I mentioned her to you 2 or 3 minutes ago, she looked like the other end of the harbour. Maybe not quite, but she's barreled down here. She'll be doing 20 plus knots down here.
Setting up for a practice jibe, I think.
You just hold there, Alex, so we can just pick up Blackjack in the background. It's a long way away. There they go. Excellent. There she's flying along.
So I think we're at 140 here on the racetrack.
Back to the 18-foot skiff.
Yep.
Races, and all are present and correct.
So Yandu decided after that first start that the boat was not good. Mark, how about that? The kitchen maker pressing towards the leeward end. The winning appliances leeward end, Smeg at leeward end. So Smeg's decided the midline probably wasn't going to work.
Yeah, we can just see the boats now. There we get a nice drone shot as well of the boats as they stack up.
1 minute.
Yeah,
no,
it's interesting. John Winning is not going to do his standard committee boat start at all.
No, and so the Finport's changed their mind and come to the windward end. So there you go. And he can sail high and slow, though. He's very proficient.
Yeah, there's a lot of traffic up at this end, isn't there?
Yeah.
The committee boat, so the camera boat where we are, we're at the committee boat as well, and the drone's up in the air, but you might occasionally see the camera boat from the drone, but most of the boats are at this end. Nobody wants to be pushing too early down that pin end, but there's plenty of space down there. Someone's going to win it. The Kitchen Maker look like they're the ones who want to go for it.
Just coming to 30 seconds.
And I'm seeing Winning Group down there just to leeward of Smeg as well. Just see the Winning Group appearing there on camera on the drone. Smeg to the left. There's John Winning and Yandu just behind. But the Kitchen Maker is the clear
10
hard on the pin if she can get up to the line. I think she's going to be.
He looks deep, doesn't he?
She does. She's going to
Here
have
he
to
goes.
wind on. Here they go.
Wow.
Can the Kitchen Maker get up to that boat? Well, she's got tied under. The worry is the line's so left bias here that he just might not even get to the pin. Look how left-handed it is up at this end. These boats here are clearly quite a long way behind the pin end boats if you were to stop the race right now, which of course you wouldn't do, but gives you a sense there's a significant amount of left bias there. We'll see how that plays out.
So, yeah, probably. Oh my goodness. The Smeg started well. The Kitchen Maker started well, although behind the line, Finport out of the windward end, and as we noted, he's got the capability of squeezing off the boats above him and staying clear of the upwash of the boats in front of him.
Apologies for our wind noise, but it is 20 knots of breeze. We're going into it at 20 knots, so we'll do our best to try and keep this annoying microphone noise down. There's the fleet. You can see classic left end bias. The boats to the left end are already punched well forward, and we've already said that strategically the left end of the line heading towards Bradley's first attack typically is a winning manoeuvre, but that assumes, Bucko, that they can avoid the deadly void, the deadly vacuum of Bradley's Point.
Yeah, I mean, Kitchen Maker started pretty conservative. He looks to me like he's got enough room to complete his tack across, yeah? And he leads fairly easily, I think, right at this moment. But you can't go into the void, and it's a big void.
You can't. Well, there's Winning Group on camera, and just as we move further along, you're about to see Smeg as well. There's Smeg and Winning Group and to leeward, a long way to leeward, but advanced by a significant amount. There's Kitchen Maker, who's just tacked.
And he's got enough room, though, to tack, settle, and decide if he can cross the boats. So that's the other thing. He's not close to anybody and didn't want to be close to anybody. And he's crossing it.
There's Kitchen Maker on screen now, clear across, great camera shot. You can see not any question at all on the first one, and the second one as well, probably 4 or 5 boat lengths clear. What a nice feeling, Bucko, get on the port tack and not even have to look under the boom. That's just a lovely thing, isn't it, if you're a crew?
A feeling of some relief, let me tell you.
Significant relief, particularly as there's a very large ferry just barreling down towards the rest of this fleet. There's waves, there's more wind.
And Mark, wind speed here, effectively 20 knots. Yep.
You're absolutely right.
Every bit.
And that's just changed the last few minutes, hasn't it?
It just compresses a bit here in the corner, yeah. Anyway, great stuff for you guys.
So here's our leading boats. You can see they've all got themselves on the port tack. A lot of starboard tackers approaching, so there's a few more port starboard issues that are going to develop as we stay here. We should better keep an eye on most of them.
So just have a look at this, Mark. Kitchen Maker has crossed Finport by a good 80 metres. Finport conservative at the windward end and Kitchen Maker conservative out of the leeward end.
Yeah, paying the price. Michael Coxon is out on port and clear and gone, looking pretty healthy. Winning Group looking good. And up in this corner, the Bradley's corner, the boat's just tacked as John Winning. And then Asco. And it's bumpy here, isn't it? I mean, we're getting a good hosey on the camera cat, but these boats will be feeling this.
Not on screen, but he's back on the start early, which is...
There's Asco tacking on camera. Look at the wake that you're seeing there. That's an unfriendly speedboat that just burned right past, just to add to the woes of the crew.
There are no friendly speedboats.
Rough as you like here, isn't it? Finport still on starboard tack. Oh, Kitchen Maker having a very close run. It's just off camera, just to windward of Finport that you're looking at. A motorboat had to do a full stop to not take out Kitchen Maker. There's the Kitchen Maker, just to leeward. You can see Finport very nearly tacked and capsized, but probably that might have saved their race there, Bucko.
Yeah. No, they went a boat length too far, but they got out of it. So, yeah, so on the water, we think, say, Kitchen Maker leading, Smeg second, winning third. Probably then Finport, I think, fourth already. And you can see, Mark, that Finport has actually gained a little because the Kitchen Maker's done 3 tacks.
She has. That's a lovely shot of Kitchen Maker you saw just then coming straight at us here on the camera cat.
And they're having a good shot, aren't they, the Kitchen Maker boys? Smeg's across them though, I think.
Yeah,
Mark.
Vintech just capsized, just got that on camera as well. It's all going on here, isn't it?
It's not Vintech.
Not Vintech. Yeah, I think it was Vintech just behind us.
Kitchen Maker coming back on starboard here. On screen. So Smeg leads.
Yes, it's all pretty hectic, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let's try and add a bit of perspective. What's gone on here? We knew that Bradley's corner was going to be tough. It was tough for breeze, tough for waves, and we got maybe even more motorboats than normal, Bucko. It's a bit luck of the draw in that corner, or do you think you can manage the situation?
No, it's a pain in the neck, but it gets worse later. So it's a good thing that the start's not half an hour later, or they'd have a very difficult time.
So we're now looking on Kitchen Maker, who's got a really nice setup, a little bit of windward heel as you expect, just a little bit in the gas of Smeg, who's just to windward of her and just slightly forward. You just pick up Smeg there on the camera. These two boats herring off to this side. They're trying to minimise the tacks here, Bucko, aren't they? But also just remind us, where's the best tide going to be?
Well, they're already across the best tide, but what you'd observe here, the water very smooth. So Smeg going back towards the current now, bit of current, rougher water. Usually it will pay to just go to the corner and tack, minimise, like I said, 5 tacks.
Here goes Kitchen Maker, time to attack. Nice tap before by Smeg. Let's see how well Kitchen Maker can do it. Yeah, not too bad, but not the best, but certainly not the worst, and everybody came out alive from that one. A day like today, easy to make a big mistake. And looking back across the race course to the left of Kitchen Maker, there's Smeg. She looks like the leader on the water right now. Winning group is on the far side, but I think Smeg's going to be clear across. Asco's in the mix, Kitchen Maker's in the mix, and Finport making a bit of a charge up through the fleet too. That looks, Bucko, like my top 5. Any amendment you'd make to that?
No, it's pretty good. But you see, you've seen that already, haven't you? 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. So far, you said 5 tacks is the winning number. I like the way of looking at it. Finport's done 1 so far.
Maker's done 4.
Here comes Asco. Oh, just looking at her now from the drone, flying across us here. New crewman on board. They've got Carl Langford, haven't they? He's hasn't sailed skiffs very much, but he's sailed just about everything else, including just done a Volvo. I think he's sailing on the Comanche for the Hobart. He'll be sailing with Tom Slingsby on the Sail GP foiling catamarans in Sydney Harbour in the second weekend of February. Don't miss that if you get the chance. So he sells a lot of stuff, but also he's quite tall and he's quite heavy. Riding moment, important today.
It's a lot to pick up, just the subtle bits of how these boats operate. And jibing, getting your feet in the right place, getting your body set. Alex?
Got winnings to windward. Yeah, I'm just going to go forward 3 boat lengths.
So here's we've got a lot of wash coming our way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Wave.
yeah, we did. Our stabilised camera did a great job, wasn't it? We just had our own little Cape Horn going on here on the camera cat, but I think we're under control now. We're just plucking the drone out of the air. New batteries. She'll be back up in the air for that top mark, which isn't that far away. We're probably another 10 or 15, 10 minutes maybe to the top mark. Watching Asco. Asco's looking really nice in these conditions, Bucko, and there's a few boats doing well. Bingley also doing well, and Bingley's got Grant Rollison on board today. Mika Lane, usual skipper, and Pete's, and Pete's just a terrific bowman in a big breeze, isn't he? Yeah. Really good boat handler. Many a year on Rag and Famish, he got the boat round the course, and now he's matched up with Mika and with Grant Rollison. Nice combination. Well, no, the camera cat for all you people sat comfortably at home is an extremely wet place to be. It's sunny and warm. Hey, we've been in worse places, but we are taking quite a lot of the green stuff. So to excuse us while we kind of wipe our eyes and wipe our lenses. And Alex has got our driver for today. Alex is talking about a debut of fire. It's breezy, it's windy, there's boats everywhere, and he's doing a good job.
All at 20 knots here now. Going back in.
For now, the Smeg and the Asco doing a lovely job, aren't they, in these conditions? You can get a sense, I think, now we're behind Smeg about what the conditions are like. Our gyro stabilised camera makes it all look terribly smooth, but I can assure you it's not. It's a very chopped up harbour, getting close to 20 knots now. An awful lot of passing wash from spectator boats and from just recreational boats is really adding to the mix. And that makes it pretty hard for these crews, particularly if they've got to tackle jibe in amongst the big powerboat wash. But for now, they're doing a good job. But visibly on the water, Smeg, Asco, looking pretty quick and looking under control. Winning group, not too far behind. And the march of the Finport continues, but she's still not in touch with these two leaders. Pretty impressed by Smeg. We've said before, Bucko, that Smeg haven't really quite lit the touch paper as much as we thought they would do this year, but maybe today's the day it all starts for them.
The last one race, it was a bit like this. Solid noise. They're up on the ley line though here. They're probably going to open.
Looking ready to tack now. Biggie's the jibs, there they go, and Asco's just to lure them is about to tack as well. This is our leading two here, hoping they're on the ley line for the top mark. They don't want to tack again if they can avoid it. That's why they've gone so far.
They're easy, mate, I think.
Test.
So that tells it. Sorry. That's a bit optimistic there. It's not blowing the breeze a little more right than we perhaps expected up here.
Yes,
that tells you it's just a funneling sea breeze.
Doesn't he? He's going to get a bit of right to left.
He might get there. He might get there.
One of those ones. He might get it. If you get it, it's a big gain, isn't it? The double tack. What's that going to cost him on day after day?
Wow.
Just behind us, we're getting a quick shot. I'm not sure if we can see that. There's a ferry that's had to do a full stop from 20 knots as they carved through the 80-foot skiff fleet. But thanks for the ferry for doing that. And we're getting up towards the top mark now.
You got him, mate? He's not under control.
We've got a few NACRA 15s as well, just to add to the fun and games out here on this harbour. It's busy here. You can just see a boat capsizing behind us with that rear shot. Just look behind my head and you'll see a capsizing NACRA 15, I think. The one that just we avoided, I'm glad to say. Anyway, back to our race. It's Smeg approaching on what now looks like a ley line. I reckon they're going to get to this, Bucko. And I think if they do, it's going to be I think Asco as well will get to it. These guys are going to have a great lead.
Yeah, Asco's there. The Smeg, I think, is there just. Yep. They're roaring in now, yep. Go, mate. Go.
Here comes Asco approaching. Big bear-away time. Jibs eased, vangs eased. Heart in the mouth for everyone, even for a seasoned practitioner like Michael Coxon. This is never straightforward. Thank you. Need to park up here and do everything from here. Next boat around, that was Smeg. Nice hoist, guys. They're fully under control, and she goes off with a nice clear lead. Next boat around is Asco. Here comes Asco on the rounding. There's the bear-away. We're just going to hang here and watch the bear-away, the first group of boats.
Right, Alex, just be careful here because some of these guys don't get the bear-away done and they luff back up and they will run straight into us. So the Finport had a little moment back there. The sheet end jack dropped the main sheet out of the tack and they had a little pit stop. But
so first round was Smeg, second was Asco. Here's winning group. These guys are all laying quite comfortably. You can see how easy they are. And here comes the bear-away. Hoping to get that bear-away. There's Sevi coming off the rail, under control. Nice job, John winning. Herman, nice job steering, all under control.
The kitchen maker looking a bit shaky.
Yeah, kitchen maker's in fourth. Finport gets on the inside line in fifth. Nice attack from them just before this rounding. And that's your top five, and they're coming in thick and fast now. Plants is online. Right up behind them, you can see Sean Langman on the Noakes. And there is Royal Oak in great shape as well. Really nice job. Behind them is Simon Nern on our Marine. He's got one of the Gilmore brothers from 49er sailing on board today. That won't slow them down too much. John winning in Yandu. He might have expected to be doing maybe a little better than this. He's probably well into the double figures now. And there's Ilvi just behind as well. And that's really where our winners are going to come from. Rag and Famish. How have they been going in the fresh stuff here, Bucko? Rag have had a pretty good season, but I thought I might have seen them a bit more in the at the sharp end here.
No, they struggle when it gets up range. They've been on the riding lever a few times.
Yeah. And there's Ilvi just with her hoist. There's John winning just in front, you can see on the screen. And remember, this is the first lap, so they're going to go via Shark Island. They're going to head towards the beach off Nielsen Park. That'll be chocker today. It's about 27 degrees air temperature. Summer weekend, everybody's out enjoying the harbour. So it's going to be busy off that beach. Look out for spectator boats. And then they jibe out once, jibe back to Shark Island, and then down to the bottom, and that will be lap one completed. Rag and Famish getting the afterburners on. A lot to do there. They want to get back into the front of this fleet. Vintech, remember she had the capsize just after the Bradley Point rounding, so Vintech's just to the right of Rag and Famish. Will come into shot in a second. She's right up her jacksie here. Vintech, nice recovery from a capsize. Usually, a day like today, Buck, if you capsize, that's kind of race over, isn't it?
No, because if you capsize going upwind, you might be able to get going at this 90-second loss is kind of minimum. Capsize with a shoot up 3 minutes, 90 seconds upwind sort of, more or less minimum. So they're about, 2.5 minutes behind the leaders at this point, something like that.
So we're kind of travelling down here with a group who are in the kind of mid-teens. We'll skirt around the side of these guys, cut the corner to Shark Island, and we may not quite catch up with the leaders for Shark Island, but we'll be in the vicinity. wait for these guys to jibe to give us a little bit more sea room here. So there's the Vintech we were talking about. Vintech rolls into her jibe. Nicely done. Very nicely done. That was a lovely jibe, Bucko.
Yeah, no, they've been doing quite a bit of good stuff, but stringing 20 of them together is a tough, issue.
Yeah, and Rag and Famish has just gone as well, just alongside us, just off camera for a second, but they also did a lovely jibe. John Winning did, as usual, a great jibe, no problem. He's never had an issue with his boat handling, that's for sure. And the rest of the fleet are trundling down, so we're going to get ourselves down to Shark. I can see the leaders.
Alex, all noise.
Just ahead of us. As we pass across the fleet.
Now this is tricky jibing or selection into this mark, quite a narrow needle to thread. You've got to hit a little sort of gate, there's no gate obviously in the water, but in your own mind there's about a 100-yard window, and too low and you end up too much pressure, too high you run out of wind. Not that easy. It's pretty rough water here at the corner.
And if you get it wrong, Bucko, which boats do, which is your worst problem? To go too far or to not go far enough?
Well, at least if you a little early you can jibe out. But if you're too deep, there's no redemption. You have to drop the chute or flag it, as Smeg is doing right now in the far distance.
Yeah, so Appliances Online and Sean Langman's Noakes are on shot right now. They seem to have the angles about right. Maybe Appliances a little too high, Bucko, what do you reckon? I think Appliances Online might be a little bit to the high lane here, but Sean Langman right now, he's looking at that angle, and he's wondering if he's going to get round Shark Island. If you're the guy on the speaker sheet, you're not going to thank your skipper here, Bucko, are you, if you got this wrong? So Sean Langman, will he or won't he get round Shark Island? There's always a lift, isn't there? Nobody says that.
No, it heads as you go, this one. As you see the Asco, they had to pull it off, and they're in trouble. They've got the chute in the water.
Oh yeah.
Can we go to that, Chip?
Yeah, just ahead of the boat we were looking at Noakes Island. Asco had the very problem we were talking about, didn't lay Shark Island, had to drop the spinnaker, that's ugly, and they're not capsized, but they're stationary in the water. It's all on here, that's for sure, and we've got Appliances Online and Noakes look like they're both going to make this nicely. Asco clearly have made a big haulix of that, and behind them Winning Group look like they're nailing it too. The experience of John Winning Jr. and Sevi Jarvin coming to play, picking this lane beautifully. That'll make them up a few places, bring them right back into this race. And so here's Sean Langman and Appliances Online on screen right now. Here comes the jibes. I think Sean's going to want to go a bit further here, isn't he? The jibe line, Bucko, what's the perfect jibe line in here for this one?
In this wind, looks like Kitchen Maker's right on the money to me.
Here goes Noakes. Simultaneous jibe with Appliances Online. Flatter water here, ease your boat handling conditions.
Yeah, it gets funny. If you have a look down there where Smeg is, they get a bit of upwash over the point, and sometimes you can get a lull there. Yep.
Just behind us we've got the Winning Appliances we talked about, just putting her jibe in. Much the same line as Noakes. Not quite as elegant a jibe as the other two, but no dramas. So broadly the low line really skirts Point Piper a bit, doesn't it? It means a little more distance, but maybe a faster angle. We're going to get the camera cat flat chat for a second.
Kitchen Maker's had a bit of trouble here, Mark, yeah?
I'm sorry, say again, Bucko?
The Kitchen Maker having a bit of bother with the upwash, the wind bouncing over the hill. They've run out of wind.
That's just in front of the shot we've got on camera right now. There's the Kitchen Maker who just ran into a hole, weirdly. Maybe wind bouncing on Point Piper.
Third and fourth respectively, both comfortable. The leader dropping his chute now, so the mark just to the right of him.
Yeah, so just up ahead, just to remind you, Smeg has started pretty faultless, two downwinds. She's extended her lead. She's about to go around the bottom mark in first position. Next is the Kitchen Maker, and then the boats we're looking at on camera right now, we're alongside Noakes and Appliances Online. They're in third and fourth, not much between them. Pretty flat chat yachting here, about 20 knots, beautiful skiff conditions. This is what it's all about, Bucko, isn't it? This is when you want to be sailing a skiff. Fantastic day, flat chat towards the bottom mark in the top 5.
Yeah, but I tell you what's making you anxious, Mark, is can we get her off cleanly, yeah?
Can you get the kite down clearly, and can you keep the boat upright, and
Can you dial up?
Well, our leader's just gone round first. That was Smegs. She did all those things. She's clean round. Michael Coxon and his team doing a good job. Kitchen Maker is the next one, going for the drop on camera now. She hasn't laid the mark, but that's not a drama as long as she keeps it under control. She can two-side reach in. Here comes the Kitchen Maker. Nicely controlled drop.
Problem here. No, they've sorted it.
Yeah, that looks pretty good. Next one, Bucker, you're the expert in the boat handling. Talk us through the next drop.
Okay, well, he's comfortable, he's high. It's a one-man drop. He's done it, you know, and that's a modern thing where they just send a bowman in and simultaneously torch. They had a big puff here, though. They'll have trouble dialing up. No, they've got the job done. I did say I thought they might be in the money today, those guys, and they've done a great job there. Look, the appliances online, wow.
Plants online, not a bad job. Kitchen Maker lost out a bit there. They ran a bit wide, couldn't get the kite away. I mean, not a terrible rounding for them, but they just probably lost a couple of places, not much distance. They can make that back up if they want to. Next around, Winning Group, another boat that's not quite laid, so actually they're all probably did jibe a little bit too late. Here goes Winning Group with their drop. You're just going to see them on camera now.
He's well late. He's well late. He's in the tide. He's in the tide.
Is it a swim? No, that's salvageable. They're going to make it. They have made it if they don't capsize on top of themselves.
He just gave 5th place back to Finport.
Not a lot of margin of error. So coming up behind us now, just behind the boat, we're going to get a camera shot on this now. I think here comes the Finport.
Finport with a well-controlled dial up here.
Royal Oak is falling in the water. I'm not sure if you got a shot of that.
Not able to dial up, so they had to go past the mark a little. Not too bad though. Safety first now.
Finport goes round, next around, cutting the corner, Triple M, the only boat that's got anywhere near the right ley line.
I think, Mark, this is going to turn into a war of attrition now. It breezes up another 2 knots.
Yeah, remember, this is only lap 1 of 3 laps. The laps don't get any shorter.
No, they appear to get longer. How does that work?
They seem to. So next round, there's Del Zotto. Quite a nice, comfortable rounding. Armourine Pitwater, finding a nice line. John Winning under control. But Armourine Pitwater and John Winning have got a lot of ground to make up to get right back into the front end of this race. And let's just see Asco coming down there. So Asco back up and running after they were in third or fourth. No, second. They're just behind Smeg, weren't they? They were in second position. They had that problem at Shark Island, remember. They didn't capsize, we don't think, but the kite got caught under the boat, maybe?
They just full prawn, whole chute in the water.
Full
so
fishing
it's a tough job.
So they've recovered. Here is the drop coming up from Asco. I think it's just off camera now, but you're going to see them appearing from the right. Here comes Asco, previously second. Lumix around just ahead of them. And apart from a capsized boat and someone far up the racetrack, that's our fleet at the end of race 1.
Oh, the Asco's struggling now.
They are struggling, as you said, war of attrition. Anyone who keeps this tidy right now.
Yeah. No, they've done a good job. They got out of it. But Mark, you know, the drop technique that they're using, you know, where they just send the forward hand in, and he simultaneously releases the tack line and the halyard. There's a lot of pressure on the bow and a lot of pressure on the exactly where the bow is relative to the apparent wind to help him get the shooter and the forestay, maintain it up the paddle so the shooter stays out of the water.
Just a lot
Nothing
of technique.
could possibly go wrong, could it?
A lot of technique. And of course, yachting never goes to plan, does it? It's about managing to improvise, and nobody really nailed that leyland as they wanted to, and it's a matter of who could make the most of what was always going to be a little bit ugly.
Yeah, I mean, of that group, Noakes did the best job. Out of the leaders, did the best job on the bottom ridge, so that's got them up into podium of some kind. So, Mark, the little occurrences that we saw on the ridge into Shark tells you, you know, the wind is genuine nor'east here. Genuine, hard, funneling nor'easter, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. As we're just looking on camera at the mid-pack group, which is Yandu on picture, Armourine Pitwater, Del Zotto, Ilve.
Appliance is going home.
They're all about to tack on the starboard soon, and yeah, just running downwind off camera is Appliances online, two-sail reaching back towards the park. breakage, maybe a bang, maybe a tack line, something like that.
Jib sheet, tack line, something
Something like that, yeah.
Right.
It's getting fresh.
What we're looking at now, 22, 23 knots of wind effective for these guys. So anybody who can keep it upright will get near the podium. So Alex, pictures out of the camera. Yep, if it stays in one piece.
So we're about a quarter of the way up this second beat, so lap 2. And situation at the front, Smeg, we'll get to them in a second, they're leading. We've got Noakes in second, we've got Kitchen Maker in third, and then a little bit of a gap.
Finport's next, I think.
Finport and Winning Group.
Yeah.
That's your top 5 at the moment.
Yep.
And the pack behind them, well, they're probably at least a minute further back, so we're getting a little bit of a lead group developing, little gap, a little bit of a mid group.
The peloton that hurts each other, not like the bike race peloton, Mark.
No, they don't. There's no gain in drafting in this game, is there, in the world of yachting? So here we are alongside the Kitchen Maker. It's sort of middle, not quite the top of range of a small rig yet, sort of middle and a bit more. Just charging along nicely. These guys are pretty comfortable. Bucko, I can see them looking around, having a little chat.
Yeah, they were a bit uncomfortable in mid-channel in the rough water. I think,
yeah.
You know, like I said,
Do you know
keep it intact.
These guys?
Keep it intact. Yeah. But they're a bit conservative here. They didn't want to go through the lee of this cruising boat, but that's not a bad thing. And also the Manly ferry inbound from Manly. Jordan Gerda steering, pretty big young man, famous Sydney yachting family, with Lachlan Doyle and Tom Quigley. Tom, son of Steve. Powerboat wake for us here. Wow.
Bit of wash on screen. This is another large ferry. That's the Manly Sydney ferry you've just seen. It does 18 knots and doesn't slow down for anyone, I can promise you. The whole skiff fleet actually got a bit of a talking to by the New South Wales Maritime Police last week, basically saying keep away from those ferries because they will not slow down and we don't want anyone to get run over. So the fleet's had its annual reminder to behave itself. Anyway, we're back up with the leaders. Here is the good ship Smeg, Michael Coxon with the small rig. Dialing the boat in nicely.
Beautiful.
They started pretty well. We'll remember that the Kitchen Maker had the best start, cleared the fleet on port tack. That was back at Bradley's Point, you remember that, about half an hour or so ago. But ever since then, Smeg, Coco and his boys have been just inching forwards. They took the lead 3/4 of the way up that first beat, and here they are. They've got a lead of probably as much as a minute and a half already. Yeah. It's a significant lead for lap 2.
Probably 140 or a bit more even, I think, Mark.
Noakes Marine is going to be the boat afterwards. And Kitchen Maker just behind them. And then it goes to Finport and to the Winning Group. That is still the same top 5. I just get the feeling that Smeg are just stretching out. Just they look a little bit more comfortable in these conditions.
Yeah, I mean, they've been operating pretty well. And Ricky Bridge and Mike McKenzie, you're not going to have too much trouble. They had trouble with their rig setup, but they might have solved that problem. And, you know, conversely, Finport not quite as fluid, you know, in this pretty difficult conditions.
Right down, let's go.
A couple of little operating errors and a couple of little, just went a little too far for the job. So Finport historically shown enough speed to just go burning past these guys. And, I think they'll be close to second by the top of the beat.
Yeah, I think that's right. Smeg have just tack. They're off Nielsen Park at the moment. We're just going to not give you a forward angle where we get too much spray on the camera for a second. Oh, we're good now. We're back to a forward. We're all cleaned up and sorted. There's Snake crossing us. She just tacked on the starboard. If you look ahead of us, you'll see a lot of small boats. This is the Sail Sydney Regatta, which is based out of the Wallara Sailing Club in Rose Bay, and they've had Olympic classes for 4 or 5 days now. It's the kids, the juniors, giving it a good show. Yesterday it was blowing 25 knots, and most of the kids came home safely. Great training today, a little bit less, but another full-on day, and it's part of sailing. You get to see your heroes of the skiffs sail by. And Michael Coxon doing the nice thing, not sailing through their start line, but keeping well clear.
Michael Coxon conserving his energy by not tacking too much, mate.
Yeah, do you think? I think he might have just charged through that that little 29er fleet, but no, he's kept well away from them. So we're looking back on Coco. He's trying to, I think he might have heard you, Bucko, the 5 tack secret sauce. He's done 2 so far on this beat. He won't be able to lay from where he's going now, I don't think. So I think he's got 2 more to come.
All the way to the Shark Island on the right-hand edge, and they're coming. Now I've just lost sight of them.
So looking at, we talked about the Sydney Hobart stuff. Here's a boat that is going to be going to Sydney Hobart. It's the current handicap owner. It's Ichiban. It's Ichiban, the boated 52, TB52, but modded to go offshore. And Ichiban won the race last year on handicap. They are aiming to win it for the 2nd year in a row. They've had a fantastic set of results offshore this year. Very strong crew. They can sail inshore and offshore, but the boat is designed to win the Hobart race. Added Rob Greenhage to the crew this year to add to what is an existing very strong crew as well. And no question, that one is a boat to watch. Getting some good training time in. The good ship, Ichiban, flies downwind. Just doing 20 knots, and we're going upwind, and that's, you'll know, 40 knots plus of noise disruption. There's Smeg on screen. There goes the tack. It's definitely the 2 tack problem, but they got through that one pretty nicely. Yeah. So we're showing a lot of Smeg. Apologies for that. Oh, not apologies for the Smeg guys. Lovely to see you on screen. Good to see Coco performing. But we will get you into the details of the rest of the fleet when we can. And up here we can do it. We're going to get the drone up in the air. Now we're stationary. We can actually see what we can see. We can hear ourselves think, and we can tell you what's going on.
Yeah, okay. The other, just observing back down here, Mark, the fin ports on the port tack ley line. They've completed their last tack, I think. Kitchen maker going in on starboard. Not on screen. Smeg coming at us. Smeg going to lead by 140.
Yeah, could you put a watch on this one? Give us the time.
I did last time, but I forgot to look when the next guy came.
I'm going to remind you if I can remember.
Please.
So here goes Smeg for the Barraway. Nice conservative, a little overstand, makes it simple, easing everything.
And a little lull as well.
And a lull. They did get a very helpful lull. Oh, it's straight into the jibe set. Remember, not round Shark Island on this way down. It's just straight to the bottom. And very often, the right-hand side looking downwind pays in a northeasterly, and Coco knows that all too well. It also gets him away from that 29er fleet, he hopes. But he looks to me like he's going straight at the 29er fleet, coming the other way, port starboard. Here we come.
I'd be confident of his ability to thread a path there, but it's a big fleet.
I hope. There's the drone showing what's going on. That's his Michael Coxon heading straight at the 29ers, but he's got time.
They're all on port now, mate. He's right.
Well, to a certain extent, although the hospital and doctors might disagree with you on that one. So he's first round. I'm going to remind you on that timer, but it feels like it's at least a minute already. And the next boat, which is Sean Langman on Noakes. And Sean, of course, is a guy who sells everything. He sells trimarans. He goes to Hobart, sometimes in a little 30-foot classic. This year he's going, I think, back on a 60-foot IRC boat, isn't he? So he kind of, he's got all the skills.
He gets around. Oh, Shawnee. So in the boat today with Sean, and we did comment on this in the pre-start warm-up. Ed Powers and Nathan Edwards, which is his best combination, and it's showing pretty strongly today. The other thing we would note here, Mark, is that Finport has blasted into third without even blinking.
Yeah, interesting, isn't it? They've managed to get the speed button. So that was second round was Noakes Marine. Here comes our third boat. This is Finport. She's had a good season so far, always showing plenty of pace. But she's a long way out of first place, that's for sure. I think Coco's gone if he keeps the boat upright.
Yeah.
But Finport likes to look a second, and she's going to be nibbling at Noakes Marine, that's for sure. Nice bear away from the Finport guys. Very tidy.
I mean, just to make the point, they did 4 tacks up the beat. They put it into drive. They didn't make any operating errors.
Yep, there you
suddenly
go.
They're well on the podium.
And next round is Kitchen Maker. So they've dropped one place on this upwind leg, and they've got a 29er to think about here. Got 2 29ers to think about.
They've got a bit of a problem here.
Got a Windward Leeward issue here. This is Windward boat keeps clear. That's the Kitchen Maker. 29er being quite friendly to them. Thank you very much, Oz6, whoever you are, Oz6 on a 29er. Nicely avoided. We all thank you. And next around, and this is, I think the drone shot is showing this quite clearly. We've got the skiff fleet in amongst the 29er fleet. Well, we all share the harbour. That is part of racing. And if you're in a skiff, you have to avoid all sorts of things. We know about the ferries, we know about the big power boats, but you also have to avoid your fellow junior yacht racers. Next round, winning group. Winning group is on a little bit of an overlay as well. Here comes the Barraway.
Just in case they don't get the bow down, mate. We're going to go to the bottom, mate. Let's go. These guys are overstood and dangerous.
Funny path.
Yeah, dude.
Keep moving if you can. You've got 18 behind you.
There we go. The Del Zotto fortunately got
We're just getting ourselves out of a tough situation. Fabulous driving from our driver Alex. That was about as hard as it gets. Here we are alongside Del Zotto. It's a hoist. This looks a little ugly on the hoist. They've got to get that spinnaker up in the air. They're very slow at the moment. Looks like a lot of vang on actually, Bucko. That's not helping them. Oof. It popped. The water came out.
Oh my goodness.
I think they're going to get away with that one, and a good one to watch again on camera. Work out how they can do that one a little bit better. They were down speed, to be fair, slightly caused, I think, by some 29er traffic.
3 rolls of the dice in one set, mate.
That was hard for everyone. And the leaders, sort of like often happens with leaders, they sort of serenely just didn't notice all the trouble with the guys in the middle of the pack. Often it's harder. It's too much traffic. People get in your way. It's tougher and tougher. Here we are following winning group. This is a brand new boat this year, isn't it, Bucko? And I know Ian Murray, the coach and tech guy from the Gotta Love It 7 multiple champion, he's been involved in this boat. Not surprisingly, it looks pretty tidy.
Oh, sure. Looks great. Looks fantastic. They have had trouble with their rigs. as well. But they seem like they're getting it together, and no doubt Sevi brings a fair bit of stability to the organisation. And to his credit, he's been doing every job on the boat as well. So
that's true. Nice drive in those conditions.
Yeah,
and also Herman, John Winning Jr. He hasn't actually sailed the skiffs for the last few years. He's had like 5 years off. The occasional guest appearance on his dad's boat, but I'm pretty impressed by the way he's got right back into this as well in these conditions.
Yeah, and I haven't sailed with him in one of these or a keel boat, but they tell me he's got some pretty freaky skill downwind, steering the boat.
So the Andrew's just got her drive in, and she found a bit of a lull. I don't think she really wanted that lull. She wanted to keep the pace on, but she's gone driving across. And we were just looking downwind, weren't we, Buck? And you mentioned the distance between the leader and where we are, and it's big.
It is big. But the boats are going now, probably going down to about 25 knots, actually faster than we can go.
Yeah, I mean,
we won't catch them.
And to put it into perspective, our leader is very close to the bottom of the course right now, and we're not even halfway down, and we're doing 20 knots all the time. So these boats are 20 plus knots. Maybe, what are they doing, you reckon here, Bucket? Maybe 25, we haven't measured them recently, have we?
23 probably in this wind speed, I would estimate, but
yeah.
The camera cat's got VMG on them, but that's all. They're pretty windy down the middle and pretty bouncy. We just saw Kitchen Maker get over one there, fully airborne. Ooh.
I think if you take a right hand step forward, winning through, when you jive back towards a couple of corners. So about that course there, Alex, straight down there.
And the leader just went in the tide, mate.
We have the leader has capsized.
Okay, why don't we go down with Kitchen Maker then? So, off screen, guys, just out of the corner of my eye, I was looking at the Smeg. As we said, it's never over till it's over, and there are easy race leader in the tide with a shoot up in the middle of a jibe, which is almost the worst thing you can do, usually.
Question is though, Bucko, she had such an enormous lead, she's not going to keep her lead because at the moment Noakes Marine is hurtling towards her upright at 25 knots, but she'll probably end up in second or third, won't she?
Well, it's the last beat, it's only one lap, so not much time to catch up. I would expect they'll be in the water for 3 minutes though, mate. So.
Yeah, it'll be tiring, that's for sure.
Yeah. Now, the other question is, where's the fin port gone?
We have a missing boat. That probably means we have a swimmer. So I'm looking around trying to find the fin port. We should, no sign of it. So I think she is a swimmer somewhere too. So at the front of the fleet, just to recap.
Where are they, kids?
The leader is technically still Smeg because Noakes Marine hasn't overtaken. Well, she's overtaken now actually. The Noakes has just gone into the lead. She's approaching the bottom mark. Smeg is trying to right from her capside, but she's still actually in second on the water. Kitchen Maker is currently in third, and fourth is the winning group. That's our top four. The group behind it is Ilvi Del Zotto, Armoring Pitwater, Rag and Famish.
No. You want to go to the Smeg knob or not? Which way you want, Mark or boat? I don't know. Yeah, no problem.
So down at the bottom mark, we have Noakes Marine, who's our new leader. We're actually just looking at Kitchen Maker because Noakes Marine is a little bit too far ahead. Kitchen Maker is about 150, 200 metres from the bottom mark, hurtling in, lovely ley line. Bucko, that's perfect, isn't it? Look what a great ley line she's in on. She's got the jibe manoeuvre. So what are you going to do in this rounding, Bucko?
It's a good jibe drop, I think. It's not too windy for it.
It's a jibe drop, is it?
They'll be happy. Just jibe, hold the sheet on,
Let's watch them.
Towards the tack line.
I'll let you
get her in.
I'll let you give points out of 10 for technique here.
Yeah. Still will be the word. Today, okay. Here they go. Tack line off, perfect. Easy drop, mate. Easy.
And they've made it look easy, haven't they?
Yeah.
It didn't look easy to me. They hurtled in there at that speed, but they had enough space for the rounding.
Yeah.
Not too much space with a nasty two-cell reach. So they probably did that really well. So in first place is Sean Langman on Noakes Marine. This is the bottom mark for the second time. There's 1 lap to go. They just started the last lap via Shark Island on the downwind. Second round the mark is Kitchen Maker, as you're seeing. She's round clean. Next, behind us, we're going to stay here and watch the roundings. Looking like Winning Group has just done her jibe. She's approaching on starboard jibe. It looks like she's about on the lay line. Yep, looks not a bad lay line at all.
He's too high, mate.
Yeah, for the drop though, with the bear away for the drop.
Well,
We'll see.
these boats don't run square too well, as you would know, mate.
So coming in now is Winning Group.
He's got a puff. He's going to go there. He's going to go. Safety probably says he does that. Further up the track, the Finport is upright, just not quite headed in the right direction yet, but
and that's Winning Group going around in third place. A nice job by the Winning Group team. Good sailing. Yep. Coming into this race, aren't they? They were at first mark. They're about 7th or 8th, bit by bit. They're coming through. The others fall down, but Winning Group, no, they're looking slow. They're in third place, in fourth place. Ilve, we don't see them at the front in the breeze that much, but great job today by the Ilve team. Great sailing, good pace.
But upright and pretty conservative. And
it's John O'Witty on the Ilve, is it?
John O'Witty on.
He knows exactly how to get around this track. He's also
on the stick.
The proprietor of the drone company Aeromedia, who give us all these great pictures. So, John, thanks for that. In absence, he's got his team running it for him. But so that's John O'Witty. Ilve in fourth place. There is Asco. Haven't they done well? This is the boat that capsized at Shark Island. They're back up to fifth.
They didn't capsize. They went prawning.
They went prawning, sorry. But they were one from last time round here. So that's a sensational recovery from Doro on the Asco.
Yeah, they got a full kilo of prawns too. No mucking around. Enough for the Barbie.
And then Dalzotto, another good job. A lot of great boat handling from the skiff fleet today. And John Wenning.
It's a good test.
Then it's the Rag and Famish. And here comes Triple M, Armory in Pittwater. And then there's a large gap.
But Smeg up and running again, still trying to get themselves pointed towards the mark.
Yeah.
Two-sail job.
In the far distance, poor old Smeg have taken this long. They were, of course, second.
First.
They were first by quite a lot, and they capsized. They took a long time to right. They then recapsized, and to cut a long story short, they're now not quite last, but Finport in the far distance has suddenly been seen. Bucko, where did she go? Did she go off on a treasure hunt or something, or what do you reckon happened?
No, they were on the riding lever at Bradley's. I think they got a bad wave at full noise at Bradley's head on the run.
Yeah.
By the look of where they were.
So two of our original front runners, that Smeg was leading, Finport was in third or fourth, whichever she got up to, are now in last, and one from last of the ones that are still upright. So we'll see what those two could do. I think they're so far behind with 1 lap to go, they're not realistically going to come back into the pack, let alone to the lead.
Well, Mark, as we observed though in the lead up, it's probably getting still windier further up the track, although tide flow looks like it's gone away a little bit.
Well, it is, Buck, and you said it's all about the third lap, and I think you're completely right about that. Of the boats that are in that leading group, which ones have got what it takes to do the third lap?
I reckon the Noakes will get the job done. They've been a little bit wobbly, but they're not the youngest team, and they've done a pretty good job in a couple of races this year. I think the Kitchen Maker will stay in one piece, having gotten this far. So I don't think the lead will change really, because they can, for both those boats, they're now saying, okay, we're on the podium at least.
Yep.
We don't have to press quite as hard.
No. You are quite right. So you think probably the winner's going to come from that top three, isn't it? Kitchen Maker.
Yeah.
There's Winning Group in third, and then in first place Sean Langman, who will probably hold the lead. But we'll see. Stuff happens. We've seen unexpectedly Finport and Smeg capsize. Anything can happen. Talking of Finport, here she comes round. She set a capsize somewhere up the track, so she goes from third to last of the current runners, getting around the mark for the bottom time. And after this, we will be heading upwind to make sure we get up to that top mark. We'll try and give you some decent pictures as we go, but we'll let the pictures do the talking and not let the microphones just blind you with horrible microphone noise. There goes Finport, and here we go. Upwind, join us at 20 knots.
Drone's still up, mate. Oh, the
Just got a little camera fix to sort out before we set up upwind. We're just sorting out the camera, just don't worry about the lack of picture. We'll give you a picture very soon indeed.
Yeah, I mean, it tells you enough about the conditions today that the two best boats in the fleet today, on the in a racetrack sort of sense, probably Finport and Smeg, both been upside down. Smeg, by the look of it, in the jibe, and I didn't see Finport go in, but I think they got some severe wave action just at Bradley's head on port jibe, and they might have had an end-over-end type capsize or something like that.
I mean, they dropped back enough. It must have been a messy one because it wasn't a fast survival. We're just sorting out an issue with our camera just while we're not hurtling upwind, so we're just going to wait while we get that sorted, and once that's done we can get upwind and check out that top mark for the last time. And the Bearway is going to be interesting. There is probably a little more wind, a little more waves. That top mark round Bearway bucket, it's not a gimme, is it?
There's no gimmies on this track, as you would have observed. And we're looking from where the camera cat is, we're looking upwind at Smeg, who, as we noted, has been in the water for 3 or 4 minutes, but good solid 20, big main inversion, so 20, 22, 20, maybe a bit more even, where they are about half a mile upwind of us here.
Yeah.
So both Smeg and Finport about 2 minutes in arrears of the peloton, a minute 30. They're not. Finport's not incapable of getting in front of the peloton. They're not.
Well, see, I think you're smoking something, but who knows? Anyway, we are heading upwind.
Well, if you watch the tape of the race where they went the wrong way, they got back to fourth. If they'd gone the right way the last speed, they still would have got on the peloton in that race.
I think you're right, but one lap, they've had a capsize, they're tired. This will be a test. They can do it now, they can do it any time. So anyway, we're upwind, 25 knots. See you at the top mark.
Bumpy water, camera boat wet, camera getting bashed around. We stay in one piece, we'll be lucky, mate. And don't forget, the jibe angle into shark on this run down is extremely tough to pick, as we saw the first time around. And the guys would have learned a bit from that, but would have learned. But typically, they were all a little bit too low, so they all went about 80 metres too far, 100 metres too far on starboard jibe. But that's only about 10 seconds of sailing. So 10 seconds earlier jibe, you know. Wow. Yeah, Nelson Park, mate, yep. We're about to go through some rough water here on the camera boat. Wow. Goes well at full speed and not so good one.
Ultimate test of a gyro camera, isn't it? And it's amazing how pictures look well.
Manufacturer's recommendation. Now, needs a padding on the bar.
Yeah. So normal service can be resumed. We got ourselves upwind, and we are parked off Nilsson Park. You've heard us talk about it as we go downwind. We're going to hold the boat here, and they're going to come towards us after the bearaway, and we'll have a good sense of exactly where the fleet's at. We're not expecting a lot of changes in position, but this is the first jibe spot. It'll be a decent place to be. And from here we can actually, so we're about, to get you a sense of where we are, we're about 3/4 of the way up, a little bit more, the beat in this position.
So
And
Alex, if you want to just mosey at low speed, just straight towards the white line, just slow, just slow. Straight upwind and watch them come at us. Perfect. Just do 4 knots towards the white light, mate. That's just great.
so looking across on the racetrack here, Bucko, nothing has changed in terms of places. We've still got our leader, Sean Langman. Looks to me like he might even stepped out a little bit.
Yeah,
In the
gone.
distance, the shot.
Yeah,
we're trying to get the shot on the camera. It's a long way away, but the cameraman's doing a great job.
Noakes has gone
The boat to the
forward. The boat's on the far western shore. Kitchenmaker in the middle of the river still. Winning group coming towards us. So
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Ilvy still 4th.
Yeah, LV is still 4th, and it looks like,
Asco on the far shore and Del Zorro and Yandu.
yeah, I think Asco might have even got herself up into 3rd at the moment. She's well inside on a bit of a lefty there.
No, 4th.
4th, sorry, yes. I think they could be in 4th. Ilvi, John Winning in the sort of 5-6 battle. Del Zotto sailing a great race today in about 7th or so. That looks about where it's at for now. They're coming over this way a little bit, so I'm sorry the shots are so distant for everyone at home, but it's very rough and windy in the middle, and we want to keep our technology in one piece for the weeks ahead. A lot more races to show you guys, and we're in a pretty good spot. This is a cunning plan that our producer director Chitz has got, because we're going to sit here and the race boats are going to come right at us, right past us, as they set up their first jibe for what is the last downwind to the finish. That'll be happening in about 4 or 5 minutes if you want to go make a very fast cup of tea, but you could just stay with us all the way through, because we're going to be seeing the boats on their final approach up to this top mark. Here's Ilvi coming towards us. To the left of her is Del Zotto. To the right of her, you might just be able to pick up, is Asco. To the right again of there is Winning Group, and too far off in the distance is our current leader, Noakes, who I think, as you said, Bucko, she's extended her lead, hasn't she? She's looking
looks like they've got a 2-minute buffer. They're pretty tidy.
Now, Sean had one other good result this year, I seem to remember seeing.
Yes.
The last couple of years, he's been, to be honest, mid-fleet at best, and something's happened this year. He's got the bit between his teeth. Is it the boat, or is it him, or what's going on?
I think the combination of Ed Powys and Nathan Edwards is pretty strong. I think you would know Dave Powys, Ed's dad, from his yachting adventures, but with those guys in the boat and that combination, they've been very strong. Just different thing entirely, really.
Yeah, different setup with a good crew. That was just Ilvi you saw tacking in front of us. On board Ilvi today, John O'Widdy, as we mentioned, also Pedro Mazzoni and Luke Parkinson. That's Parco, as otherwise known, Volvo racer, and with a very long, distinguished CV, getting himself a bit of time on an 18-foot skiff. Keeps on sailing like that, he might end up with a full-time job.
Yeah. So Noakes group now, Noakes sailing on the Portac Leyland, I think, a long way from us, about 3/4 of a mile away from us.
Yeah, so we've got Del Zotto on screen. She'll be tacking in a second. We'll check her tacking technique, about to tack on to starboard. And the far distance, if you look in the far distance, dead in line now, that is Noakes Marine, that small little black dot, miles up there. That is where the ley line is. That Noakes might even be beyond the ley line, but that's the sense of the kind of lead she's got.
And Del Zotto just into a good bit of squirt, had to ease the jib, so that tells you it's pretty uprange.
Del Zotto needs to find a point to tap. They're probably waiting for a little lull here, because they must be close to lay here,
He's
Bucko.
just going to the smooth water and a little lull. Yep, please.
There she goes, heading towards, that's Watson's Bay in the distance. There goes the tack. Yeah, well, sort of not bad, could be worse.
Yep, safe enough.
5 out of 10.
5 out of 10.
Maybe a 6 on a generous day. Because it's fresh. Because it's fresh.
It's a 3, says Chitz. Okay. Chitz is a hard marker. Okay.
And there, Del Zotto's getting herself rolling now. It turns out that Sean wasn't actually on the ley line. She just had to do 2 little tacks back.
Yeah, not quite.
Either not quite or had a traffic issue. Didn't see it. I think just not quite, and wanted to do come in on a generous ley line and have a conservative bear away.
Yeah.
So here goes Rag and Famish, also looking for that spot to tack in.
So, and now Smeg near us, Finport over there.
Rag and Famish looking for that spot to tack as well.
Let's have some fun here, eh? And then, I don't know, we might be able to...
So back at the top mark, off camera, but I'll let you know that is Noakes Marine has just got the bear away done successfully, just did the bear away. She's pointing straight at us, and we'll see in the distance fairly soon Noakes Marine setting a spinnaker. We're going to hold right here, and we should be in a nice position for a scarily close flyby. We're giving Alex, our driver, all the good jobs today.
Noakes.
He gets to sit here and make us sacrificial lambs as they come at us at 25 knots.
Noakes sailing.
So on the left,
sailing.
just to the left of your picture, we should be able to see the Noakes Marine. Well, you're going to get a drone
On
picture
the
soon as
bow.
well. We'll have an even better way to watch this.
So they gave back a fair bit there, mate. The two little tacks cost them quite a lot.
Didn't it just? You're right. That what looked like a massive lead, not
Yeah.
so massive. So Kitchen Maker is second round in the far distance. You just see the second boat around trying to pop its white kite. Kitchen Maker in trouble on
Kitchen
the hoist.
Maker's in the
That
tide.
looks ugly. Is she
No,
going to...
no, they saved it somehow. That was absolutely at the point of no return.
That is...
Shoot in a tangle now, I think. They'll have trouble. Full of water.
So, right on camera now, there is Noakes Marine, the big red kite, centre of the picture.
Wow.
We are pointing, we're bow to bow with them. I'm not sure what the racing will say about this one, with a catamaran with cameras and 7 people on board, but anyway, we'll
So Alex,
just
have to peel this way, just underway. Yep.
just make sure he knows what we're doing.
The signal. Bit of poke,
Go,
mate.
more pace, more pace. Perfect. So there's Noakes Marine flying by. Great job by Sean and his team. As under control as you can be. Look at the airborne stuff. Fantastic shot. Noakes Marine out of the air as much as they're in it. I hope the centreboard stays in one piece. Plenty of traffic on that corner. There's the ferry they've got to avoid. Typical Sydney Harbour. There's a whole bunch of 29ers as well.
Yeah.
So this race isn't over yet, Bucko, is it? There's plenty of trapdoors.
Have a look. He's fending off risk at all corners of the spectrum, mate.
We're just going to spin around and look at the Kitchen Maker now.
Kitchen Maker and Winning coming at us, and Noakes in the tide. Whoa, no, broken something.
Just off camera, but our leader, we'll get back to it in a second, our leader has broken something on the kite.
The tack line let go.
Yeah, actually you're right. It wasn't a breakage, was it? The tack line was just released. We thought they were going to capsize, they didn't. Noakes Marine still upright, still in one piece. Second boat on camera now. Here's the Kitchen Maker, setting up for Kitchen Maker's jibe. Let's see if they can do this. It's always a graveyard spot on the corner there, Bucko, isn't it? There's this nasty wash.
Nasty bumpy water.
Don't do it down speed, lads. Keep the movement.
Yeah. Here we go. And coming past us here on a camera cat, the Winning group, looking pretty cruisy actually.
Great drive by the Kitchen Maker. She got through that really nicely. The next one we're going to look at is, as Bucko said, the Winning group, the blue hull boat. She'll be next, heading towards that graveyard spot. So far we have 2 successful jibes from our leading 2 boats.
Wow.
Boat number 3, Winning group.
Now Asco and Ilvy. Chits, how about we chase those guys down, eh?
We didn't quite get the Winning group there, sorry about that, but I'll let you know what happened. The next boat down is Asco, on camera now. And here's the Asco also, not far. Fantastic airborne stuff from the Asco. Great control by the guys on board.
Full speed,
I'm
mate.
going to go behind Asco.
No, you get in front of him. Go full speed, go out to the right.
Asco's looking for that jibe.
Straight at the white light here for a minute. Yep, got it.
Asco slows down. Nobody likes to slow down on these jibes, but just had to pick their spot. Beautifully executed in the end.
Yeah, go across him, mate. You're right.
There's the Asco taking up the camera cat wash now. Another bit more airborne action. Beautifully, great boat handling.
Group in the tide here, man. Sorry, Trips, we're There's plenty going on, and it's never easy to capture it. Winning group in the tide on the jibe. So, and Noakes sailing down the island in front of us, had to take the chute off to get up to the mark. So they overstood. Kitchen Maker's got an opportunity here, but they might also be overstood. On the wrong side of overstood.
So the boat we're looking at is Asco, who did that jibe. She's currently lying now in third place. The boat ahead of her winning group, you just might see from the shot just to the windward side of Asco on her bow, the upturned boat. That is the winning group that Bucko just mentioned. Winning group, second jibe, didn't succeed. She's on a full swim. That'll be the end of their race. Up at the front of the fleet, we're going to chasing them as hard as we can right now.
And Ilby just went in the tide as well.
Ilby too, as Bucko said, is all happening here. But up at the front, Sean Langman is still upright, is still leading. And in second place is the Kitchen Maker. She's had to drop her spinnaker to make Shark Island, and it's safe and conservative as much as you can be on a day like today. We've still got the cameras, the drone on Asco, who's showing you some pretty sensational airborne form, and if she can stay upright, she's coming into these boats at speed. Remember, the two leaders both drop their spinnakers, playing it conservatively, trying to make Shark Island.
Yeah.
Asco, nothing conservative about the way they're sailing right now.
No, they've got to drop as well though, Mark, so the breeze has actually rotated a little bit back to the right by the look of it, yeah?
Yeah, Asco's drop is going to be critical here. When do they drop? Kitchen Maker just did a drop ahead of them, and it's taken them a long time to drop and get going again. And Asco is hooning into them, just shortening their lead all the time.
No, Asco's got to drop now, mate. Like, and Kitchen Maker can't get the bow down now. It's so windy where they are.
And our leader just ahead of us has capsized. Sean Langman of Noakes. It's all going on. We might just hold here actually, and as good a position as any. It's all happening. And take a chance to take stock. We said that a few times today, Buck, haven't we? Look, a quick recap. Our leader was looking great, set herself up for the last jibe of the race with a huge lead, and I'm afraid, even with Sean Langman's experience, they are swimmers, they are capsized. In second position is the Kitchen Maker, very close to our boat right now. Hopefully we can get a shot of the Kitchen Maker, about to relaunch her spinnaker. And in third place, Asco, who I think might yet win this race. Asco has dropped her spinnaker successfully at Shark Island. She's two-sail reaching in at pace and in some kind of control. The race right now is between Asco and the Kitchen Maker.
Yeah, the Kitchen Maker had a little bit of trouble in the hoist, but they're off. They've got a 30-second buffer there. They should be able to get the job done. But we've said that a couple of times, mate, haven't we?
And we've got that on camera now. There is the Kitchen Maker just behind. You're about to see on camera Asco appearing. She has no spinnaker up, so she has to do a hoist yet, but she's flying along, two-sail reaching, playing it conservative.
Kitchen Maker doing the right thing, though, jibing early, and
hey, look, it just keeps happening, doesn't it? And the other thing that's happened here, Buck, is our leader, Sean Langman, has righted his boat in record time.
Yeah, they got going again.
And is two-sail reaching towards the finish, marginally in the lead.
He's got a set, though.
He's got a set.
That lead won't last long.
Right, we're going to follow the leaders down here. So there's the leading group ahead of us.
Asco got a jam up in the hoist as well.
There is the harbour bridge. It's the picture postcard shot.
Full speed, Alex.
Three leaders.
Full speed, mate. Alex, full speed. Got one engine? One engine stop, has it? Or what? Got a plastic bag, I think.
Luckily, our drone, we have a little mechanical problem with the boat. We're just going to have to go slow while we fix it. And I can tell what's happening up front. The drone's showing you all the good shots. So engine problem solved. Out front, it is neck and neck between Kitchen Maker with the white spinnaker up on the left-hand side. Behind her with the other white spinnaker up, that is Asco, the boat that was leading, then had a problem at Shark Island on the first round. If you remember, it's come right into this race. To the right, Sean Langman was our clear leader for a whole lap until they capsized on what they hoped was the last jibe. It's between these three. This is the race to the finish. No more marks to go around. It all ends in the next minute or two. I think you've got to stay upright though if you're going to win this race, Bucko.
Yeah, the Kitchen Maker's in the box seat here. The Asco boys are very hot angle. Oh, and bumpy water where the Asco is. Oh, and the Kitchen Maker just ate it. I can't believe it.
And the leading boat has just fallen in. The Kitchen Maker.
Powerboat weight.
It's just capsized to windward, put the nose in. Asco, my prediction for a win, Bucko. I'm feeling good about that now.
You've got the
go of the Asco.
The reverse of the commentator's curve.
No, I can't. Kitchen Maker sailing so well. A nasty powerboat wash. Put a bow in. capsize to windward. That's a horrible feeling. So it keeps on changing. Your leader now in front of us. There is Asco. In second place is Noakes Marine, recovered from the capsize, but I don't think they're going to be able to get to this line because it looks to me like Asco are laying.
No, Asco's on the lane. But we did say it's an hour and a half race and you've got to keep putting in.
Never was a truer commentator thing said. Bucko, you nailed it.
We've seen more errors in this last lap than we saw in the whole rest of the race. Admittedly in more difficult conditions, rougher water, wind speed well up. Here goes the Asco.
So crossing the line now, there is Asco. Pretty sensational job. Great job from Doro. Great job from Kyle. Almost his first time in a skip. He won't forget today in a hurry, will he?
No, he'd be a happy lad.
Who's on the bow of Asco today?
Harry Bethwaite in the bow.
And of course Harry Bethwaite, regular guy on the front. Top job by those three. Great performance. I talked to Doro on the boat part before this. He sounded confident, but he did say it's going to either work brilliantly with Kyle because he's a great sailor but hasn't sailed skiffs, or we're going to end up swimming a lot. Well, it was the former, not the latter. Well done, Carl Langford. Well done, Doro. Good job by Asco, our race winner today. And second, across the line, here comes Sean Langman. Noakes, in many ways, we kind of felt he should have deserved to win today. He got it all right up until the last moment. The last jibe didn't go well for Sean, but he ends up with second. He'll be happy with that. Great performance. And in third, Bucko, how did that happen?
See?
Bucko, how did Smeg get to third?
There you go, you see, it's not impossible. The Smegler, who was on the fin down here and behind the whole peloton, got up to third.
Smeg was one from last.
Yeah, two from last.
How have they come to third? Now, you told me Finport was going to get in the podium.
Finport's had another accident. But what I was saying was, it's not impossible, yeah?
And look, guess what happened there? Guess who came fourth? Heavy weather expert, the guy who last weekend, when it was blowing 30 knots, wanted to race, John Winning. Great job by John Winning and the Yandu team. He was never really at the front of the pack all race until it got fresh and fruity on that last leg. He's piled through while all the rest have turned over. Great job by John.
Finport's up to seventh, approximately. So, from being, all but last.
Yeah. Fifth place, this is the Dalzotto team.
And the Dalzotto does have to do another jibe soon.
What do you think?
Easy.
I reckon they're going to soak it down. They're going to try to soak it down.
No such thing. You can't. Oh, they might get there.
Yeah, but no one on that boat wants to jibe. They've got no interest whatsoever.
No, I thought they were above the low, but they're not. They're okay.
So here comes Dalzotto crossing the line. Look at the speed. You get a nice sense with our camera position here, quite how fast they're going. Good airborne action. Great job, Dalzotto. And John Winning, the winning group, John Winning Jr., just two boats split from his dad, John Winning Sr. Despite that capsize we saw them do just before Shark Island, they've made a great recovery, and they're going to go around and finish in sixth.
Yeah.
I think they'll be pleased with their work today when they give us a new crew, and they were up there, weren't they?
Yeah. They look like they were, podium worthy, shall we say. Triple M. And they've stayed upright all day. The Rag has been in the tide. The Finport has been in the tide. And I think the Marine have been in the tide. And the Rag just couldn't get there.
Oh, the Rag, I think we just got that on the camera shot just then. The Rag and Famish, they were that situation of do we jibe, do we soak, do we whatever, and in the end they capsized. That's probably not the best solution, but unfortunately we've all been there. Can you soak, can you not?
Here's the Finport. You can soak, but you can't,
Not much.
Not much, exactly.
There we go. So Finport, a mixed day for them. They clearly were fast when they were upright, but you can't win a race like this if you do two swims, which I think is what they did.
No, I did one. Only did
one.
One big long one downhill, with a shootout.
Yeah.
So and their final deficit about equal to one swim, So they've dusted it by about 3 minutes.
And Simon Nern's Marine Pitwater goes across next.
And the kitchen maker behind us just got up out of the water. So the guys that I'd put my money on to conclude successfully are going to be, is that 11th now, I think, yeah?
Yeah, well, we were pretty confident not that long ago that Sean had this race completely nailed, but we were confident with Smeg, and then that went wrong, and then with Sean, and then that went wrong, and then it came back to Asco. It's all action here on the harbour, and I think we're pretty much done in terms of boats. There's a few other boats out there, but I think we're just going to kiss this little show goodbye today.
Jeez, we just wrap her up, eh? Okay.
So, Bucko, today, lessons for you. I mean, clearly, tough racetrack. What's your main takeout going to be from today?
Well, it's a robust test And the guys, you know, that can sail every week with the same 3 guys in the boat are going to do better than everybody else. So there's plenty of boats capable of bits, but virtually nobody got around without some error or other, and that's interesting in itself. But to be fair to the fleet, it's a pretty tough day. As rougher water probably as you might see, and the wind, not the ultimate, which is usually a southerly, but certainly tough up range, and a long course, you know, 3 2-mile beats. Difficult jibe angle into shark because of the right-handed air, so ley line into shark, very tough to pick, and but a great test for the trips.
So a testing day, I think, is how we'll conclude on this. Look, a testing day on the Camera Cat for all you at home. You will have, if the audio went a bit weird and a bit funny, I'm sorry about that. It's just windy and wet out here. We're going to keep working on the technology, but thanks for staying with us. Hopefully you saw a lot of action, maybe a bit of a form guide for the racing coming forwards. No question that the best heavy boat handlers always win out in the end, and John Winning slipping in at the end, no surprise, one of the great masters of heavy air skiff sailing. But thank you for joining us. Don't forget that we have the Super Cup on Friday, 5 o'clock kickoff at local time here in Sydney. If you're watching us from abroad somewhere, well, adjust your time clocks for that. There will be a recorded version. You better watch, of course, at your leisure. And next Sunday, we have the last race of the season in 2018 before we take a break for Sydney Hobart races, Christmas, and down here in Sydney, the long summer holidays. And then we'll be back after that, second week of January, as normal service will be resumed. But anyway, thank you for joining us. It's been a pleasure to be out today. First of all, the biggest thank you to our novice, but he didn't look like it, driver, Alex Knight today. That's as hard as it gets to drive a Camera Cat. Awesome job, mate. Thank you so much. Bucko, thank you so much for adding, as ever, your experience, colour and unique flavour to the broadcast. The chits at the back of the bus pressing all the buttons, the drone drivers, the safety catchers and all the other button pressers. A tough day for the Camera Cat. Nice work. Thank you so much at home. We'll talk to you soon, and we look forward to seeing you on Friday and Sunday later on next week. Goodbye.